Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to tackle something, it's a challenge a lot of businesses face.
Yeah.
How to make CRM implementations actually work.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue.
You shared an article by Hoyos.
Hoyos.
Yeah, from his podcast, Conversacionesdecrm con Hoyos, which we'll link in the description. And it breaks down 10 common reasons why these projects, they just go off the rails.
Yeah, it's surprisingly common. CRM systems can be game changers when they're done right, but the failure rates, they're alarmingly high. That's why we're here, to really unpack these pitfalls and, more importantly, those 30 solutions that Jesus Hoyos outlines to set you up for success.
30 solutions.
Yeah.
That's a lot to cover, but I guess it shows how multifaceted this challenge can be.
Right.
Before we dive into the specifics, though, I'm curious about the big picture. The article mentions that somewhere between 30 and 63% of CRM implementations, they just fail.
Yeah.
Why are those numbers so high? What's going on there?
Well, it's rarely just one single thing. It's almost like a domino effect, right?
Sure.
One misstep can trigger a chain reaction leading to a full-blown failure. Often it's a combination of strategy, process, people, tech, and data, all working against each other. It's kind of like a recipe gone wrong.
Yeah.
Even if you have all the right ingredients, if you use the wrong proportions or just miss a step, well, disaster.
So it's not just about buying the fanciest CRM software and calling it a day. It's about, having a solid plan and understanding those potential pitfalls.
Right.
Speaking of pitfalls, let's jump into that first one. Lack of a clear CRM strategy.
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice, and why is it so detrimental?
Well, imagine setting off on a road trip without a destination in mind. You might end up somewhere, but, it's unlikely to be where you actually wanted to go. Similarly, a CRM system without a clear strategy is like a ship without a rudder, right? You might be collecting data, going through the motions, but are you actually hitting those business goals? That's where, defining specific and measurable objectives come in, not just vague hopes like, oh, we want to improve customer satisfaction. No, tangible goals like, we will increase our Net Promoter Score by 10 points this quarter. It's all about clarity, focus, and having a way to track whether your CRM efforts are actually making a difference.
I like that. Specific, measurable goals, not just feeling good. It's about seeing tangible results. But even with those clear objectives, how do you make sure that your CRM strategy actually aligns with your overall business goals?
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the tech itself and lose sight of the bigger picture, right?
Yeah, that's where alignment comes in. Making sure that your CRM efforts are supporting, your company's broader objectives. So let's say your business is focusing on expanding into new markets, right? Well, your CRM system should be set up to support that effort, helping you manage and track leads, analyze market data, and tailor your communication to those new audiences. It's about integration, making sure your CRM isn't siloed off, but a valuable tool that drives your overall business strategy.
Sounds like this first reason, lack of a clear CRM strategy, is all about laying that solid foundation before even thinking about the tech itself. But what happens if, you have a strategy in place, you know where you're going, but then the processes themselves become a roadblock?
Yeah.
The article highlights deficient or poorly designed processes as the second reason for failure. What are we talking about here?
Okay, so think about taking a critical look at, how you do things and making sure that your CRM system supports those processes, but in a way that makes sense. Sometimes businesses try to force their existing processes, which might be outdated or inefficient, into the CRM mold, without considering if there's a better way to do things. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
So not just automating the existing processes, it's optimizing them first.
Exactly. You want to streamline workflows, identify bottlenecks, and look for opportunities to eliminate unnecessary steps or automate, those repetitive tasks. Think about it like decluttering your workspace before starting a new project. You want to create a clean and efficient environment where everything has its place. That's where process mapping comes in. Visually outlining your workflows to really pinpoint those areas for improvement.
Okay, so we've optimized our processes, but how do we make sure everyone's on the same page? Especially in larger organizations with multiple departments and teams, keeping everyone aligned can be a real challenge.
Absolutely, and that's why documentation is so important, right? You want to have clearly documented processes, whether it's through flowcharts, manuals, or any method that works for your team. This way, everyone's clear on how things should flow within that CRM system. Think of it like having a set of clear instructions for, assembling furniture. Everyone knows exactly which piece goes where and how they fit together.
Clear instructions. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
But even with optimized processes and that clear documentation, things can still go wrong.
Yeah.
Right? People are involved, and with people, well, there's that inevitable resistance to change.
Yeah.
The article, it lists inadequate change management as the third reason for CRM failure.
Mm-hmm.
This feels, I don't know, less about the tech itself and more about the human element.
You're right. It's about recognizing that implementing a new CRM system, well, it disrupts the status quo. People are creatures of habit, and even if the change is for the better, there's often resistance, uncertainty, and a fear of the unknown. You can have like the best tech, the smoothest processes in the world, but if your people aren't on board, well, it's all for nothing.
So how do you get people, excited about a new CRM system, especially if they're used to doing things a certain way? It's not just telling them to adapt. It's about getting them to embrace the change.
You got it. One crucial solution is fostering a culture of change, within the company. This means clearly communicating the benefits of the CRM system to, all levels of the organization. Like, what's in it for them? How will this make their lives easier? Will it help them achieve their goals or, just improve their day-to-day work? Address those concerns head on and make sure everyone understands why the change is happening, and how it aligns with the company's vision.
It's about selling the change, not just mandating it. But even with clear communication and that buy-in from leadership, how do you involve the people who will actually be using the CRM system, like on a daily basis?
Yeah.
They're the ones who are going to make or break this whole implementation.
Absolutely. That's where user involvement comes in, right? Give your team a voice in the design and testing phases of the CRM implementation. Ask for their feedback, listen to their concerns, and make them feel like they're part of the solution, not just, subject to it. When people feel like they've been heard and their input is valued, well, they're much more likely to embrace the change.
That sense of ownership, it is powerful. But even with the best intentions and user involvement, what happens when the training itself just falls short? That's the next reason on our list. Lack of user training and adoption.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about change management in general, but this seems more specific to actually using the CRM system.
Right. It's one thing to get people to accept the idea of a new CRM system, but it's another thing entirely to actually equip them with the skills and knowledge they need to use it effectively. Think about it. You wouldn't expect someone to drive a car without proper training, right?
Definitely not. So what does effective CRM training look like? How do you avoid, that dreaded death by PowerPoint and make it engaging and relevant for the people who will be using it?
Well, it's about creating a comprehensive training plan that goes beyond just clicking through slides. You need hands-on, practical training, using real-world scenarios that are relevant to your team's roles. Let them get their hands dirty, so to speak, and experience how the CRM can actually help them do their jobs better. For example, if you're training your sales team, use real customer data and walk them through the process of creating a new lead, tracking interactions, and managing opportunities.
It has to be relatable.
Yeah.
Engaging. But even with great training, how do you sustain that enthusiasm and make sure that, the CRM system becomes an integral part of their workflow?
Well, that's where creating CRM ambassadors within the company comes in, right? Find those, enthusiastic early adopters who love the system and can help their colleagues, get up to speed. Peer-to-peer support can be super powerful because people are often more receptive to learning from someone they trust and who speaks their language. Think about having a tech-savvy friend who can patiently guide you through setting up a new smartphone.
I love that, CRM cheerleaders. But even with all these efforts, what happens when the CRM system itself is drowning in bad data? That brings us to the next reason for failure: poor data quality. I have a feeling this is a big one.
Oh, it's a silent killer, right? Your CRM system is only as good as the data you feed it. If you have, duplicate records, inaccurate info, or just incomplete data sets, it's like trying to bake a cake with spoiled ingredients,
Well,
You might end up with something, but it's not going to be pretty, and it's definitely not going to taste very good. Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
so how do you clean up that data mess? What are some practical steps that businesses can take to make sure they're working with accurate and reliable information?
Well, it starts with data governance, right? Establishing clear standards for data entry, cleansing, and maintenance. It's about creating a system where everyone understands the importance of data quality and follows, the same rules. Think of it like having a style guide for writers. Everyone knows how to format their work, use consistent terminology, and ensure accuracy.
Data governance, it might not sound glamorous, but it is the foundation for making, sound decisions and avoiding costly mistakes. But even with data governance in place, how do you catch those sneaky errors that inevitably slip through the cracks?
Well, that's where regular data audits come in. Before you even start using your CRM system, you need to thoroughly clean your existing data. You got to eliminate duplicates and inaccuracies. And then it's about ongoing vigilance, just like you wouldn't let your house get cluttered and dusty. You need to regularly audit and cleanse your data to prevent those issues from creeping back in.
Regular maintenance. It's essential for any system, whether it's your house, your car, or your CRM. But what about the tech itself?
Yeah.
We've talked about strategy, process, and people, but the tech itself can also be a source of problems. The article lists problems with technology as the 6th reason for CRM failure. What are some of those common tech-related pitfalls that businesses should, watch out for?
The biggest one is choosing the wrong tool for the job. There are countless CRM systems out there, each with its own, strengths and weaknesses. It's crucial to pick one that meets your specific needs and not just go for the one with, the flashiest features or the most aggressive sales pitch.
How do you even begin to choose? It's overwhelming.
Well, it starts with, doing your research. Conduct a thorough needs assessment, get those key stakeholders involved in the selection process, and don't be afraid to ask vendors for demos or trial periods. It's like test driving a car before you buy it. You want to make sure it handles well, it meets your needs, and it fits your budget.
Try before you buy. I like that.
Yeah.
But even if you choose the right CRM system, what are some other tech-related challenges that can derail the implementation?
Yeah, one common pitfall is a lack of integration. We touched on this earlier when we talked about data quality, but it's worth, emphasizing again. Your CRM system needs to play nice with your other systems, whether it's your accounting software, your marketing automation platform, or your e-commerce platform. Otherwise, you're just creating more data silos and inefficiencies.
So solution number 2. Prioritize that integration from the get-go. Make sure that your chosen CRM can easily connect with your other, critical systems.
Right.
But even with a well-integrated system, I imagine things can still get complicated.
Oh, absolutely.
What are some other potential tech pitfalls to watch out for?
Over customization, right? It can be tempting to tweak and customize your CRM system to perfectly match your every whim. But it can create a complex, unwieldy beast that's difficult to maintain and update. It's like adding too many bells and whistles to your car, It might look cool, but all those extra features can make it harder to drive and more likely to break down.
So the third solution is resist the urge to over-engineer things. Stick to the core functionality of the CRM as much as possible and only customize when it's absolutely necessary. Keep it simple. Keep it user-friendly.
Exactly. Complexity is the enemy of efficiency.
Okay, we've covered a lot here. Strategy, process, people, and tech. But there's another critical element that can make or break a CRM implementation, and that's leadership. The article lists absence of a strong leader or sponsor as the 7th reason for failure.
Yeah.
Why is strong leadership so important in this context?
Well, it's about having someone, who can really champion that CRM implementation, advocate for resources, overcome those inevitable obstacles, and keep the project aligned with the company's strategic goals. Without that strong leadership, it's easy for the project to lose momentum, get bogged down in bureaucracy, or just, simply fall off the priority list.
So it's about having someone to steer the ship. Someone to keep everyone focused on the destination. What are some practical steps businesses can take to, ensure they have the right leadership in place for a successful CRM implementation?
Well, first and foremost, you got to assign an executive sponsor, right? Find a leader within the organization who has the authority, the influence, and the passion to drive that project forward. This person should be a vocal advocate for that CRM system, able to secure resources, make tough decisions, and keep the project on track.
Someone who can cut through the red tape and get things done.
Right.
But even with a strong leader at the helm, how do you make sure everyone involved in that CRM implementation, knows their roles, knows their responsibilities? It's easy for things to fall through the cracks if there's confusion or a lack of accountability.
That's why it's so important to clearly define those roles and responsibilities, right? Who is responsible for, managing the CRM system day to day? Who's responsible for training and support? Data quality and governance. Who's going to make sure that system is meeting its objectives? You need to have clear ownership and accountability to avoid that situation where everyone just assumes someone else is handling it.
Everyone knows their role, who to go to if they have questions or need support.
Exactly.
But even with clear roles and responsibilities, communication is key.
Absolutely.
How do you ensure everyone involved in the CRM implementation is on the same page and that, information flows freely?
Well, you need to establish those regular communication channels, right? This could involve setting up a steering committee that meets, regularly to review progress, address any challenges, and just make sure everyone's aligned on those goals and priorities. It could also involve regular email updates, online forums, or even like informal check-in meetings, just to make sure everyone feels connected and in the loop.
It's about creating that sense of transparency and collaboration.
Yeah.
But let's zoom out a bit. We've talked about the CRM system itself, but what about the broader ecosystem that it exists within? The article lists poor management of the CRM ecosystem as the 8th reason for failure. What even constitutes that ecosystem, and why is it so important to manage it, effectively?
Okay, so think of it as all the other tech and tools that interact with your CRM, right? This could include your marketing automation platform, your customer service software, your social media management tools, your data analytics platforms, anything that touches that customer data or helps you manage those customer relationships.
Sounds like this ecosystem can get pretty complex.
Oh, yeah.
What can go wrong here? What are some practical solutions businesses can implement to make sure they're managing this ecosystem effectively?
One of the biggest challenges is a lack of governance, right? You need a framework in place to manage all these different technologies, make sure they're integrated properly, and prevent them from becoming siloed. Without a clear governance model, you risk creating a chaotic environment where data is fragmented, processes are inefficient, and nobody really has a clear understanding of how everything fits together. Think of it like trying to manage a city without traffic lights or zoning regulations.
It would be utter chaos.
Exactly.
So solution number 1, implement that robust governance model for your entire CRM ecosystem. But even with a solid governance structure in place, what are some other challenges businesses should be aware of when it comes to managing this complex web of technologies?
Well, one common pitfall is tech overload, right?
Yeah.
It can be so tempting to adopt every shiny new tool that comes along, but it's important to be strategic about those tech choices. Do you really need that new social media listening tool, or is it just going to add, complexity without adding a lot of value?
Be selective. Prioritize what's truly essential. Resist the urge to chase every shiny object. But even with carefully curated selection of tools, how do you make sure everyone knows, how to use them and who's responsible for what?
That's why defining clear roles and responsibilities for each piece of tech within that CRM ecosystem is so crucial, right?
Yeah.
Who's in charge of maintaining that marketing automation platform? Who's responsible for data analytics? Who's the go-to person for the social media management tool? You really need to avoid a situation where nobody's really sure who's doing what, and then things just fall through the cracks.
Okay, we're down to the last 2 reasons for CRM implementation failure. And I have a feeling these next 2 might be the most common and the most frustrating.
Yeah.
The article, it lists underestimating the time and resources required as the 9th reason for failure.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet almost everyone who's been involved in a complex project, well, they've fallen into this trap.
Oh, yeah.
Why is it so difficult to accurately estimate the time and resources needed for a successful CRM implementation?
Well, it's the classic case of optimism bias, right? We tend to underestimate the time and effort required for complex tasks, especially when we're really excited about those potential outcomes. And CRM implementations, they're deceptively complex, involving a lot of moving parts from data migration and system configuration to user training and process redesign. It's easy to focus on, the big picture and just overlook those countless smaller tasks that need to be completed along the way.
So you're saying it's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
It's a long-term commitment that requires, careful planning and realistic expectations.
Yeah.
What's the first step businesses can take to avoid this underestimation pitfall?
You got to set those realistic expectations from the outset, right? Don't expect to see results overnight. CRM implementations take time. Time to plan, implement, and fine-tune. Be prepared to iterate, adjust, and learn along the way. It's like training for a marathon. You wouldn't expect to run 26.2 miles on your first day of training. You need to gradually build up your endurance, set realistic milestones, and celebrate those small wins along the way.
Patience is key. But even with those realistic expectations, how do you ensure you have the necessary resources to see the project through to completion?
Yeah.
It's easy to run out of steam, especially if you haven't properly planned for the long haul.
You got it. You got to allocate adequate resources from the beginning. Make sure you have the budget, the personnel, and the technical support you need to make that CRM implementation a success. Don't try to do it on the cheap or with a skeleton crew. It's like building a house, right? You wouldn't try to do it with just a hammer and a screwdriver. Yeah. You need the right tools, the materials, and the expertise to create a solid, lasting structure.
Invest in success.
Exactly.
Don't cut corners. But even with those adequate resources and those realistic expectations, how do you manage the complexity of a large-scale CRM implementation? It can feel so overwhelming, especially for smaller businesses or teams that don't have a lot of experience in this area.
Well, that's where considering an agile approach can be helpful. Instead of trying to do everything at once, break down your implementation into smaller, manageable phases. This allows you to get feedback along the way, make adjustments as needed, and avoid getting bogged down in a massive, overwhelming project. Think of it like eating an elephant. You do it one bite at a time.
Okay, we've reached the final reason for CRM implementation failure. And I have a feeling this one might be the most important of all.
Okay.
The article lists failure to measure success and adjust strategies as the 10th and final reason. Why is it so important to track progress, measure results, and be willing to adapt your approach along the way?
Well, it's like navigating a ship without a compass, right?
Yeah.
You might be moving, but are you moving in the right direction? Without a way to track your progress, see what's working, and identify those areas for improvement, well, you're just flying blind. You might be spending, time and money on your CRM system, but are you actually getting any closer to those business goals? That's where measurement comes in.
So how do you measure success? What are some practical steps businesses can take to make sure they're, tracking the right metrics and making, data-driven decisions?
It starts with defining those clear KPIs, those key performance indicators. What are the metrics that matter most to your business? Are you trying to, increase customer retention rates, boost those sales conversion rates, improve those customer satisfaction scores? You need to identify those metrics that'll tell you whether your CRM implementation is actually making a difference. It's like choosing the right instruments for your car's dashboard. You want to see the metrics that'll help you navigate effectively and make informed decisions along the way.
Measurable results.
Yeah.
I love it. It's not just about, feeling good.
Right.
It's about seeing that tangible progress. But even with, clearly defined KPIs, how do you make sure you're not just collecting data, but actually using it to improve your CRM strategy over time? It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and lose sight of the bigger picture, right?
Absolutely. That's where establishing that cycle of continuous improvement comes in. You got to regularly review your CRM data, analyze those KPIs, and ask yourself, are we moving in the right direction? What's working? What's not? What could we do better? Don't be afraid to experiment, try new things, and adjust your strategies based on what the data is telling you. CRM is not a set it and forget it system. It's an ongoing process of learning, adapting, and optimizing.
CRM is a journey, not a destination. I like that. But even with data analysis and that commitment to continuous improvement, it's easy to get stuck in your own bubble. How do you, ensure you're getting feedback from the people who matter most?
Yeah.
Your customers, your team.
That's where those feedback loops come in, right? Talk to your users, your customers, and other stakeholders. Conduct those surveys, hold focus groups, or even just have those informal conversations just to gather those insights on what's working, what's not, and what could be done better. The more feedback you gather, the better equipped you'll be to make those informed decisions about your CRM strategy.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. 10 reasons why CRM implementations fail, and it's clear that it's not just about the technology itself. It's about strategy, process, people, and leadership all working together in harmony.
Absolutely. We've been really dissecting these CRM implementation pitfalls, and it's clear that getting the basics right is absolutely crucial. But the article by Hoyos, it kind of takes this fascinating turn near the end connecting these principles to something that's, well, it's on everyone's mind these days, artificial
Just
intelligence.
the buzzword of the century, right? With all of these promises to revolutionize everything.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, how does AI actually fit into like the world of CRM? Is it just another shiny new object, or can it actually make a real difference?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the article makes this really compelling argument. Before businesses like jump on the AI bandwagon, they need to make sure that their CRM house is like totally in order. Think of it this way. AI can amplify the strengths of a well-implemented CRM system, but it can also like magnify the weaknesses of a poorly implemented one.
So AI isn't a magic solution. It's more like a high-powered engine, right? You can put it in a sleek, well-maintained sports car, and you get incredible performance. But if you try to put that same engine in a rusty old clunker, well, you're probably going to end up with a lot of noise and smoke, but not much actual progress.
Exactly. If your CRM system is like riddled with bad data, inefficient processes, and low user adoption, throwing AI into the mix is probably just going to make those problems worse. It's like trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation of sand. It's not going to end.
So what's the takeaway here for businesses that are, excited about the potential of AI, but maybe haven't quite mastered those CRM fundamentals yet?
Well, the article really emphasizes that a strong CRM foundation is absolutely essential for maximizing the benefits of AI. If you want to use AI to, personalize those customer interactions, automate your marketing campaigns, or improve your sales forecasting, you need to ensure that your CRM system is providing like accurate and reliable data. And just as importantly, your team needs to be like using it effectively. It's about setting the stage for AI to really shine.
Okay, so fix the foundation before you build a penthouse.
Yeah.
Got it. But once you have, that solid CRM foundation in place, what are some specific ways AI can actually enhance those efforts? What does that like next level look like in practice?
Well, one area where AI is already having a major impact is in personalizing customer interactions. By analyzing CRM data, AI algorithms can identify those patterns in customer behavior, preferences, and purchase history. And then you can use this information to tailor marketing messages, product recommendations, and even customer service interactions like to those individual customers.
So it's about moving beyond like those generic mass marketing blasts and creating truly personalized experiences. Yeah. It's like having a personal shopper for every customer, but powered by AI. What else can AI do in the realm of CRM?
Another exciting area is sales forecasting. AI can analyze historical sales data, market trends, and even like a social media sentiment to predict future sales with a pretty high degree of accuracy. This can help businesses, optimize their inventory, allocate resources more effectively, and just make more informed strategic decisions. It's like having a data-driven crystal ball, right? Helping you anticipate that future demand and make smarter business decisions.
That's incredibly valuable. It's about moving from like reactive to proactive, right?
Right.
Using data to anticipate needs and opportunities. Right. But what about the customer service side of things? Can AI help there as well?
Absolutely. I mean, we've all encountered those frustrating chatbot experiences where you feel like you're like talking to a brick wall. Yeah. But AI-powered chatbots they're getting increasingly sophisticated. They can, handle those routine inquiries, freeing up those human agents to focus on those more complex issues. And AI algorithms can analyze customer interactions to identify patterns and trends, helping businesses improve their overall service quality and proactively address those potential issues.
It sounds like AI has the potential to touch almost every aspect of CRM.
Yeah.
But it's not about replacing humans, is it? It's more about augmenting those human capabilities, freeing us up from those tedious tasks so we can focus on what we do best, building relationships and solving those complex problems.
You hit the nail on the head. It's not about AI versus humans. It's about AI and humans working together to create better customer experiences. Think of it like a partnership where AI handles, the heavy lifting, the data analysis and automation, allowing humans to focus on those strategic, creative, and empathetic aspects of customer engagement.
So we've covered the importance of a strong CRM foundation and the exciting potential of AI, but the article doesn't just leave us with a bunch of abstract concepts. It actually offers some concrete steps that businesses can take to embrace these ideas. What are some of those next steps?
Well, the article encourages businesses to start by having internal discussions about these concepts. Share the insights from the article with your team. Discuss the potential benefits and challenges of AI, and start exploring how you can leverage these technologies to improve your CRM strategy. It's about creating that culture of innovation and openness to new ideas.
It's about starting the conversation, getting people thinking and brainstorming.
Yeah.
But what if you're, a small business owner or part of a team that's already feeling overwhelmed, just trying to keep up with the day-to-day? Where do you even begin with something as complex as AI integration?
The article, it really emphasizes the importance of a proactive approach. Don't wait for your competitors to overtake you. Start small, experiment with new technologies, and be a leader in adopting those advanced customer engagement strategies. It's about embracing that growth mindset, being curious and willing to learn.
That's a great call to action. Don't be a follower, be a leader. But with so many different AI tools and technologies emerging all the time,
Yeah.
how do you even know where to start? It can feel like trying to drink from a fire hose.
Well, the article suggests focusing on a few key areas. First, ensure that your CRM system is optimized for omni-channel engagement. This means providing a seamless customer experience across all those channels: your website, social media, email, mobile apps, physical stores, everything. It's about meeting customers where they are, not forcing them to adapt to your preferred channels.
It's about creating that unified customer experience, regardless of how they choose to interact with your brand. But even with a seamless omni-channel experience, what's the one thing that underpins every successful CRM strategy, especially when you're incorporating AI?
Data governance. We've talked about this before, but it's worth emphasizing again. High quality data is the foundation for any successful CRM strategy, and it becomes even more critical when you're incorporating AI into the mix. AI algorithms are only as good as the data they're fed. A garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
So data governance is not optional. It's essential. But with all this talk about technology and data, it's easy to lose sight of the human element. What's the key takeaway from all of this? The one thing that should guide all our efforts when it comes to CRM and AI?
It's the idea of customer centricity. At the end of the day, CRM is all about building strong, lasting relationships with your customers. It's about understanding their needs, exceeding their expectations, and creating experiences that make them feel valued and appreciated. Technology can certainly enhance those relationships, but it can't create them.
It's about remembering that behind every data point is a real person with real needs and desires. It's about using technology to empower those human connections, not to replace them.
Exactly. And the article makes this really important point. View the implementation of a CRM system as a journey, not a destination. It's an ongoing process of continuous improvement, adaptation, and innovation. The technology landscape is constantly evolving, and businesses need to be agile and adaptable to stay ahead of the curve.
So stay curious, keep learning, and don't be afraid to experiment. That's what the deep dive is all about. But before we get too carried away, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered so far. And bring it back to you, our listener. We'll be back after a quick break to wrap things up and share some final thoughts on this CRM journey.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered so much today. Those 10 pitfalls that can just derail CRM implementations, those 30 solutions Jesus Hoyos suggests in his article, and then how AI can both amplify the strengths and magnify the weaknesses of your CRM system. It's been a real journey. It really has. And amidst all those, technical details and strategic considerations, I think it's important to remember that CRM at its core, it's about building strong, lasting relationships with their customers.
Absolutely. It's not just managing data. It's managing those relationships. Technology can definitely help us do that more effectively, but it's the human touch that ultimately makes the difference.
Technology can enhance those relationships, but it can't create them. It's that empathy, the genuine desire to help, that ability to connect, on a human level. That's what builds trust and loyalty.
Yeah. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of CRM, I want to bring it back to our listener. We've talked about a lot of high level concepts, but what's one small practical step that you can take today to improve your own approach to customer relationships? It doesn't have to be anything grand or revolutionary. Just something simple, actionable.
It could be as simple as, reaching out to a customer you haven't spoken to in a while, just to check in and see how they're doing. Or maybe it's, taking a few minutes to review your recent customer interactions and asking yourself, how could I have handled that situation better? What could I have done to make that customer feel more valued?
Those small gestures, they can make such a big difference. And remember, CRM, it's not just a business strategy, it's a mindset. It's about putting your customers at the center of everything you do, considering their needs and striving to create experiences that delight and surprise them.
That's a great way to put it. And as you go about your day, I encourage you to keep that customer-centric mindset top of mind. Think about how you can use those insights we've discussed today to build those stronger, more meaningful relationships with the people who matter most to your business.
And remember, the deep dive is all about empowering you with knowledge and insights. So take what you've learned today, apply it to your own unique situation, and keep exploring. There's always more to discover, and we'll be here to guide you along the way.
Until next time, happy diving.